I'm standing here at the edge of an old blacksmith's forge in the Scottish Highlands. It's been abandoned for 40 years, but you can still smell the iron in the air, still see the scorch marks on the stone walls. This place, it remembers fire. We've been taught to fear anger. From childhood, we learn that rage is the enemy of civility, the opposite of wisdom, the emotion that destroys relationships and ruins lives. Control your anger, they say. Let it go. Rise above it. And so we spend our lives trying to extinguish a fire that was never meant to be put out. But what if we've had it backwards all along? What if anger isn't the problem, but rather our complete misunderstanding of what anger actually is? I've spent 3 decades traveling this world, sitting with monks in Tibet, arguing with philosophers in Berlin cafes, watching the sun rise over the Ganges with sadhus who've renounced everything. And everywhere I've gone, I've asked the same question. What do we do with the parts of ourselves we've been taught to hate? Today, I want to talk about anger. Not the anger we perform, not the rage we use as a weapon, but the original energy beneath it all. That pure, incandescent force that rises up when something fundamental has been violated. Because here's what I've learned. Anger is not a moral failing. It's not a sign of spiritual immaturity or emotional weakness. Anger is energy. Pure, concentrated energy that carries a single message. This cannot continue. And the tragedy, the absolute tragedy of our modern condition, is that we've never learned to read that message correctly. We've never been taught to ask the most important question. Where is this energy trying to go? Think about it. When you feel anger rising in your chest, what's actually happening? Your body is mobilizing resources. Your heart rate increases. Blood flows to your muscles. Your mind sharpens, focuses. This is the same physiological response that allowed your ancestors to survive genuine threats, to stand up against predators and tyrants and impossible odds. This is power, raw, undeniable power. But we live in a world that has no idea what to do with power. I'm inside the forge now. There's an old anvil here, rusted but still solid. Beside it, tools scattered like forgotten words, hammers, tongs, chisels. Each one designed for a specific purpose, to shape, to refine, to transform. The blacksmith understood something we've forgotten. He knew that fire without direction is just destruction. But fire with purpose, fire with skill, fire applied to the right material at the right moment, that's creation. So let me ask you, when was the last time you felt truly angry? Not irritated, not frustrated, but genuinely deeply angry. And more importantly, what did you do with it? Most of us do one of 3 things. We explode. We let the fire rage outward, burning everything around us. We scorch the people we love with words we can't take back. We make decisions in the heat that we'll regret in the cold light of morning. This is the anger we've been warned about, the anger that destroys. Or we implode. We turn the fire inward. Let it burn us from the inside. We swallow it down, tell ourselves we're being mature, being spiritual, being good. But the fire doesn't go out. It just consumes us slowly, turning into depression, anxiety, illness. This is the anger that corrodes. Or we distract ourselves. We scroll, we drink, we binge, we shop, we fuck. We do anything to avoid feeling the heat. We treat anger like a notification we can swipe away. This is the anger we abandon. But there's a 4th option, one that almost no one teaches us. We could become the blacksmith. The blacksmith doesn't fear the fire. He respects it. He knows exactly how hot it needs to be for the work he's doing. He knows when to strike and when to wait. He knows that the same heat that can destroy can also transform if you know what you're doing. This is the secret. Anger is energy without an address. It's a message that says something here is wrong. Something here needs to change. But the message doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't tell you what to change or how to change it. It just gives you the energy to do it, if you can figure out where to direct it. Think about the anger you felt in your life. Really think about it. That rage you felt when someone betrayed you, what was it really saying? Perhaps, I deserve to be treated with respect. I need to set better boundaries. That fury you felt at work when you were overlooked again, what was beneath it? Maybe, I'm capable of more than this. It's time to demand what I'm worth or find a place that sees my value. That anger at yourself for the same repeated mistake, what's the real message? Could it be, I'm ready to change this pattern. I'm ready to become someone different. The anger isn't the problem. The anger is the fuel. The problem is that we've been throwing that fuel randomly into the world, hoping something will catch fire and solve itself. Or we've been pouring it on ourselves, wondering why we feel burned. We've never learned to build the forge. There's a story I heard in Japan from an old craftsman who made samurai swords. He told me that the steel for a truly great blade has to be folded thousands of times. You heat it, hammer it, fold it, heat it again. The process takes months, and the steel fights you every step of the way. He said, the metal wants to stay as it is, but I know what it can become. That's what we're talking about here, not anger management, anger transformation, not controlling the fire, becoming the smith who knows how to use it. So how do we do this? How do we take this raw, chaotic energy and turn it into something that actually changes our lives instead of just burning them down? First, we have to stop treating anger like an emergency. When you feel anger rising, your first instinct is to react, to do something, say something, fix something immediately. But that's like a blacksmith striking cold metal. It doesn't work. You just damage the tool and waste the energy. Instead, you have to learn to hold the heat. This doesn't mean suppressing it. It means containing it. The way a forge contains fire. You acknowledge it. Yes, I'm angry. This is real. This matters. You feel it in your body, the heat, the tension, the energy. You don't judge it. You don't perform it. You just hold it. This is harder than it sounds. We're so conditioned to either express or repress that simply being with anger feels impossible. But this is where the power is, in the space between stimulus and response, between feeling and action. In that space, you can ask the question that changes everything. What is this anger trying to protect? Because here's what most people don't understand. Anger is always a guardian emotion. It stands at the gate of something vulnerable, something that matters to you deeply. You're angry because someone dismissed your idea. The anger is protecting your need to be heard, to contribute, to matter. You're angry because your partner forgot something important. The anger is protecting your need to be valued, to be prioritized, to feel loved. You're angry at the state of the world. The anger is protecting your vision of how things could be, your belief that life should be more just, more beautiful, more true. Anger is the bodyguard of your values. It shows up when those values are threatened. And once you understand what it's protecting, you can ask the next question. What does this situation need to change? Not, who do I need to punish? Not, how can I make them feel what I'm feeling? But what actual change would honor what I value here? Maybe you need to have a difficult conversation. Maybe you need to set a boundary you've been avoiding. Maybe you need to leave a situation that's been slowly killing you. Maybe you need to start something you've been too afraid to begin. The anger gives you the energy, but you have to give it the address. I remember a woman I met in New Mexico, a painter. She told me she'd spent 20 years in a corporate job she hated, feeling angry every single day. Angry at her boss, angry at the system, angry at herself for staying. That anger leaked into everything: her marriage, her health, her sleep. Then one day, she stopped asking, "Why am I so angry?" and started asking, "What is this anger trying to tell me?" And the answer was clear. You're an artist, living like an accountant. This is killing you. The anger wasn't the problem. The misalignment was the problem. The anger was just the alarm system, screaming louder and louder because she wasn't listening. She quit her job, burned through her savings, spent 2 years learning to paint seriously. Now she teaches art to kids in underserved communities. When she talks about her life, there's no anger in her voice anymore, not because she's suppressed it, but because she finally gave it an address, and it delivered her to a completely different life. That's what I mean by transformation. The anger didn't go away because she managed it. It went away because she used it. I'm back inside the forge now. There's still light coming through the gaps in the roof, dust particles floating in the beams like tiny stars. This place was built for transformation. Every tool here, every surface, every design choice, it all serves one purpose: to take something in its raw state and make it into something useful, something beautiful, something that lasts. Here's what I want you to understand. You are both the blacksmith and the blade. The anger you feel is the fire, but you're also the one who has to decide what to make with it. And that requires something our culture has almost completely lost: the willingness to be shaped by difficulty. We live in an age of comfort, of convenience, of endless distraction. We've been sold the idea that the good life is the easy life, that suffering is always meaningless, that if something hurts, we should medicate it, avoid it, or sue somebody over it. But every wisdom tradition in human history says the opposite. They say that difficulty is the forge, that resistance is what makes us strong, that the heat is what burns away everything that isn't essential. Your anger is difficult, it's uncomfortable. It makes you want to lash out or shut down or run away. But what if that difficulty is exactly what you need? What if the situations that make you angry are showing you precisely where you need to grow? The places where you feel anger are the places where you're still soft, still unformed, still vulnerable. They're the places where your boundaries are unclear, where your values are untested, where your strength hasn't been forged yet. Someone takes advantage of your kindness and you feel rage. That's the universe asking, are you ready to learn to say no? You watch injustice unfold and feel fury. That's life asking, are you ready to stand for something even when it costs you? You keep making the same mistake and you're angry at yourself. That's your deeper self asking, Are you finally ready to change? The anger is the heat, but you have to be willing to be transformed by it. This is where most people get stuck, because transformation is not comfortable. It means becoming someone you've never been before. It means letting go of stories you've told yourself for years. It means admitting that the way you've been living isn't working. It means dying to who you were so you can become who you need to be. And that's terrifying. So we stay angry instead. We keep the fire burning, keep feeding it with resentment and righteousness, because at least that's familiar. At least that doesn't require us to change. But here's the truth. Unexpressed anger doesn't make you noble, it makes you bitter. Unexamined anger doesn't make you strong, it makes you brittle. The only way through is transformation. So let me give you a practice, something practical you can do the next time you feel that fire rising. First, stop. Don't react. Don't repress. Just stop and breathe. Feel where the anger lives in your body. Give it space. Second, ask, what is this protecting? What do I value that feels threatened right now? Listen for the answer. It might not come in words. It might come as an image, a memory, a sensation. Third, discern. Is this anger pointing me towards something I need to change in the world, or something I need to change in myself? Sometimes it's both, but you have to know the difference. Fourth, channel. What's one concrete action I can take that would honor what this anger is protecting? Not revenge, not performance, action. Real, difficult, transformative action. And then, and this is the hardest part, you have to do it. You have to take that energy and direct it into change, into the conversation you've been avoiding, into the boundary you've been too afraid to set, into the dream you've been too comfortable to pursue. You have to become the blacksmith of your own life. I know this isn't easy. I know it's simpler to just be angry, to point at everything wrong in the world and feel justified in your rage. I know it's easier to blame others, to wait for them to change, to stay exactly as you are while demanding the world become different. But that's not transformation, that's stagnation dressed up as righteousness. Real transformation requires you to take responsibility for your own fire, to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this making possible?" Because here's the secret that the blacksmith knows. The strongest steel is the steel that's been through the hottest fire. The most beautiful blade is the one that's been folded and hammered and shaped by someone who knew what they were doing. Your anger is the fire. Your life is the steel, and you are the smith. The only question is, what are you going to make? I'm standing outside the forge now, looking at the hills rolling away into the distance. The sun is starting to set, painting everything gold and amber. It's beautiful. It's peaceful. But this peace didn't come from the absence of fire. This landscape was shaped by volcanoes, by ice, by forces that would have terrified anyone who witnessed them. The beauty here is the result of transformation, not the absence of difficulty. I want to leave you with this thought. Imagine a world where people knew how to use their anger, where instead of exploding or imploding or numbing out, we learned to ask, what is this energy trying to create? Imagine if every time you felt rage at injustice, instead of just posting about it or arguing about it, you channeled that energy into building something better. Imagine if every time you felt angry at yourself, instead of spiraling into shame, You used that energy to actually change the pattern. Imagine if every time someone hurt you, instead of seeking revenge or swallowing the pain, you used that energy to set a boundary so clear, so firm, that it changed the entire dynamic of the relationship. What kind of world would we live in? What kind of person would you be? The fire is not your enemy. It never was. The fire is your ally, but only if you learn to work with it instead of being consumed by it. So the next time you feel anger rising, don't push it down. Don't let it explode. Don't distract yourself from it. Feel it. Honor it. Ask it what it's protecting. And then give it an address. Give it a purpose. Give it a direction. Give it a shape. Become the blacksmith of your rage. Because the world doesn't need more people who are good at controlling their anger. The world needs people who are good at transforming it into art, into justice, into change, into lives that actually matter. The forge is empty now. The fire went out decades ago, but the work it did, the tools it made, the blades it shaped, the lives it changed, that work remains. Your anger is a forge. The question is, what will you make in it? I'm Adrian Vale. Thank you for walking with me today.